Welcome back, troops, to Let's Tab 59. Been a cracking day today. It's now late evening. Sun's just going down, as you can see behind me there. And been a busy day for me. So I've taken a moment to come out and do my tab and have a chat to you about FANYs. I know, we'll get into it. But obviously, because we're doing the build up to the charity, I promised that everyone that was donating to us on our Just Giving page, that everyone that donated, I would shout their names out to say thank you personally from me and the Trace Around for donating to us, or donating to our challenge for Scotty's Little Soldiers. If you haven't heard of them, please look them up. Scotty's Little Soldiers, very small charity. Work they do is fantastic. Basically, excuse me, basically we're set up to provide for bereaved children of forces parents that may have died in various circumstances, including suicide. And the work they do is fantastic. Please check them out. Well, that's what we're doing our challenge for. 80 miles in 8 days. Starts a week tomorrow on the 7th of September 2024 over in Skegness. Good old Skeg Vase. I've got a crossover. We've got a lovely horse coming down. I want to stay away from it. So I promised her when I started to build up the challenge that every time someone donated, I'd give them a shout out. And I've let it slip for a couple of days. We've had so many of you, lovely, lovely people. So I've written it all down. I've got to get a bit of paper out, so I can't remember off the top of my head. And I'll give you a good shout out now. So let's get on with that. So here we go. Obviously we've got a certain amount of people that are donating that are anonymous. So thank you. I'm sure you know who you are if you've donated and not put your name on there on the Just Giving page. You just come up as anonymous. You know who you are, I'm sure. So thank you, whoever you are, anonymous, but thank you. So here we go then. I'm going to have to pull over actually because I won't be able to read. I haven't got my glasses with me. I won't be able to read the bit of paper I've got in front of me. Please bear with me. There's a little gap up here I can pull into. So the first one we've got then is, let's go up behind out of the way. There's a bit of traffic tonight. Here we go then. Andy Walker. Andy, thank you very much. Andy is X39 Missile Regiment, or we used to call them in the artillery Missile Regiment. Doesn't matter if they miss a mile, they're missiles, aren't they? 39 Missile Regiment Royal Artillery. Thank you very much, Andy Walker. The next one, Rasputin 8221. Rasputin. Didn't Boney make a song about you? Just joking. Cheers, Rasputin. Ex-Royal Logistics Corps. It's fantastic, mate. Next one. Doesn't tell me you're a veteran or not, it just says Fingerman37. Thank you very much, Fingerman. Next one, Dougie Spider. Now, Dougie is ex-Para, that's Parachute Regiment, British Parachute Regiment, and SRR. Now, that's Special Forces, Special Reconnaissance Regiment. I'd like to do a video on that. There's not much about them because they're quite a secretive regiment, probably more so than the SAS and the SBS. But the SRR, Special Reconnaissance Regiment, set up around 2006, I believe. I believe that's right, isn't it, Dougie? About 2006, recruits from all over the British Army and Navy and the Royal Air Force, etc. Originally formed out of what used to be 14th Intelligence Company, which was a very specialised intelligence gathering unit back in Banner days out in Northern Ireland. Obviously that would all come into an end. Didn't want to lose all the skills they got, so they formed the Special Reconnaissance Regiment, which are, as I say, elite special forces. So thank you, Dougie Spider. Next one, Eddie Ginge Grace, ex-Matlow, HMS Antrim. Eddie, brilliant. I don't know if you were on Antrim during the trouble down south with the Falklands War or not, but you obviously served on Antrim at some time. Thank you very much, Eddie. Will West, Westy, cheers mate. X42 Royal Engineers, nice one. Jethro Tull, cracking band by the way, Jethro Tull. Ex-RAF Regiment, very generous, Jethro. Thank you very much for that donation, that's much appreciated. Now, the next one I've got is very poignant because this gentleman is a retired Lieutenant Colonel from 3 Royal Tank Regiment, 3rd RTR, 3 RTR. Lieutenant Colonel retired Neil Mason. Now, if you know a little bit about Scotties, you'll understand that Nikki, the lady that set the charity up, lost her husband, Scotty, and he was killed out in Afghanistan, and he was in the Royal Tank Regiment. So obviously this is very close to Colonel Mason's heart. Thank you, sir, very much for your generous donation. Daz is ex-TA and also an ex-Royal Air Force firefighter. Very, very much appreciated there, Daz, thank you. Neil and Megs, I like it when we get a couple. Neil and Meg says, ex-combat medical technician and ended up as OC, that's Officer Commanding of 205, or an Officer Commanding within 205 Field Hospital. And he said that's the Eden debt. I'm not sure what that is. Megs, apparently you cook a mean curry, especially during Herrick, for some of the Commonwealth lads. So thank you, Neil and Megs, again, massively generous donation. Thank you so much indeed. Next one, Ian Homewood, ex-Royal Air Force. Getting a lot of you RAF lads, thank you so much. Another one just says, I passed WAFU, W-A-F-U. Please enlighten me on what WAFU stands for, W-A-F-U, because I'm a thick infantryman and I don't know. Next one's Gary 762 Davis. Ooh, Gary Davis. Ooh. If you listen to Radio 2 in the past and how greatest hits, you know who Gary Davis is. This is the Gary Davis, this is our Gary Davis. Gary 762 Davis, ex-RAF Regiment. Another rock ape there, brilliant mate. He said he tried to join the junior army before the RAF, didn't like the food, and so he rebadged to the Royal Air Force. Well done you. Right, turn the page over. Next one, Mark White, Chalky. Nice one, mate. Ex-13th, 18th Royal Hussars. Well done, the cavalry. Nice one. Johnny Johnson, known as JJ. Thank you, mate. Brian Bob Needham. Very generous, Bob. Your ex-3rd Battalion Royal Green Jackets. Bless your heart, mate. Appreciate that. Next one, Space Cader, Royal Signals. Thank you, Space Cader. Dave Burton. He says here, only a stab. Mate, there's no such thing. Stab's a derogatory word that the regular army sometimes used to use to describe the territorial army. S-T-A-B, stupid T-A. I'm not going to say the last word on my channel. You're not. He was with 116 Provo Company Royal Military Police from 2002 to 2012. But he did that while he's running a 26-year civilian police career. So thank you very much, David Burton. You're not just a stab, mate. You've served your country well in two spheres. Next one, Jim Alexander, ex-Royal Observer Corps. I'm going to do a video on you guys. I've said this before. I've got a thing about the Observer Corps. I think I might have fancied that. If it'd still been going, I'd come out of the army. Rather than going to reserve, I think I'd have joined the Observer Corps. So I might do something on that. Next one, Bob Page, ex-Royal Corps Transport and RLC. Bob, you're in your 70s and you're still tabbing for fitness and for charity. So Bob Page, ex-RCT RSC, in your 70s, still tabbing away, mate. Well done. Next one, Tony H. I believe you're from Canada, sir. Thank you very much. Well done, Canada. Next one, Paul P. ex-RF Regiment Armourer. Nice one, another RAF Regiment lad. Steve R. Can't even read my own writing. Steve R. ex-RAF Regiment, 22 years. Well done you, mate. Well done, Steve. The next one is one of my close neighbours, actually, just very close to where I live, Ben Tame. Ben, thank you, mate. I saw you the other day and thanked you in person, but giving you a shout out anyway. Ben's a cracking lad, done a lot for our family, and it's appreciated, mate. Next one is Craig, ex-TA Reserves in the 90s, and he's from South Wales. Craig, love South Wales. As you know, some of you might know, I did live there for a while, and a lovely place it is too, and lovely people. So thank you very much for that. Here we go, last couple now. Glenn O, ex-RAF, 23 years service in the RAF. That's fantastic. Glenn was an engineer on Harriers and Hercs, and also the SAR, amongst other things. SAR, I believe that's Search and Rescue. So thanks, Glenn, for your service, and thanks for your donation. Next one, good commenter on my channel, Johnny Cooper, another ex-RAF regiment lad. Johnny, you're an absolute star. Appreciate it, mate. Another one, Lee Toby. Thank you, Lee Toby. Neil H1507. Fantastic. Now, those donations have taken us way past what we had. So we're at £3,968 raised. But on top of that, we've got the people that have done gift aid, and gift aid helps out a lot. So that donation plus all the gift aid that you guys and girls have done takes me and the trace around for Scottish soldiers so far up to £4,591. That is something else. That is pretty impressive. So thank you all very, very much. What I'll do, if you haven't donated and you wish to, you can look back at some of my videos since I've been doing the build up to the challenge, and in the description you'll find a link. You click on that, it'll take you to Just Giving page, and if you wish to donate and leave me a message, which I'll read out, I will do. But thank you for support anyway. So the description will be in this video. So let's get into the meat of this video. What we're talking about while I'm tabbing along this beautiful evening in Lincolnshire. So I want to talk about FANYs. I know, it can be misleading. And I'll tell you how misleading it can be. When I was a young boy, we were at school, we had to go to the library. And I was browsing through the books, and I saw this book entitled Norwegian Jugs. I thought, I'll have that. A pictorial history of Norwegian jugs. Now, young pubescent boy, grabbed a copy off the shelf of this, A History of Norwegian Jugs, got it home, pictorial history, opened up, very disappointed to find it was all about ceramics and porcelain from Norway. Nothing to do with what I thought it was. So there you go. So FANYs. Those that you don't know, I'm sure there's some out there, and I'm hoping maybe there's some people out watching this video that have either served or serving in the FANYs, or have had some dealings with the FANYs in the past in a military context. Or you've got a friend that was in them. So FANYs stands for First Aid Nursing Yeomanry. They're actually the Princess Royal's Volunteer Corps. Their commander-in-chief is the Princess Royal, Her Royal Highness Princess Anne. Cracking, one of my favourite royals actually, Princess Anne. She's their commander-in-chief. So First Aid Nursing Yeomanry, now, they were formed in 1907, so before the First World War. And they are not part of the army. They're not part of the British Army as such. However, they are on the army list, and they do get some support from the army. However, they're all volunteers. They're all volunteers, and they're unpaid volunteers. Always have been. Unpaid volunteers. They don't get to go to Sandhurst and get trained. They don't hold the King's Commission, or previously the Queen's Commission. So they don't hold a commission, so they have no real rank outside their own organisation. So what do they do? Well, let's go back to when they formed in 1907, as I say, just before the First World War. They offered their services when World War I come along, and they were pretty much shunned. They had some nursing training and some driver training, which is quite unique back then for females. But anyway, I didn't tell them. I think it was 6 or 7 of them went over to France, and I think they helped the Belgians out at the first aid station, the clearing stations. They were actually given an ambulance, sort of donated to them, and took that over with them. And they were right up. They were going right up and picking up casualties and bringing them back to clearing stations. I think they were mainly used that part of the World War I to move the dead and dying away from the front. So they were doing that. They were only a small organisation, and they cracked on and done it. Now, at the end of the war, in the World War I, they couldn't be disbanded because they didn't belong to the army. They were their own thing. They were their own little yeomanry, if you like, sort of militia in a way. And so they just kept going. Along comes World War II, and Off they went again, and then the numbers are swollen a bit, and they were doing a lot better. Now, these ladies, and it is only females, I think now it's the only female, even today, it's the only unit that only takes females. You can't join it if you're a man. If you're a man, you can't be a fanny. It can be female only. So, World War II come along, and in fact, it was one of the fannies that instructed Her late Majesty the Queen Elizabeth II in how to drive on her driving course. You might have seen pictures of our late Queen looking in the bonnet of an engine in a vehicle. In the background you'll see there's an instructor there with a peak cap on, and if you look at the cap badge closely and research it, you'll see it's first aid nurse in Yeomanry. So that's quite something. Now, not only did they sort of went away from the nursing side of things in World War II and went more into communications, into signals, and also into driving ambulances, driving other vehicles around. In fact, if you ever watched the fictional TV series Foyle's War, you might note that the main character, the detective in it, played by Michael Kitchener, he has a driver, and she's a fanny. She's a first aid nurse in Yeomanry. So they'd support civilians, support police, support the army, whatever. Cracking organisation. Now, many of these young ladies that served in the fannies were quite well-to-do and quite intelligent ladies. Good educations, many of them could speak French. Very quickly, the British Army clicked onto this intelligence service and thought, some of them were actually schooled in France or grew up in France, multilingual, could speak French, could speak perfect English. And they had an intimate knowledge of France, areas in France. So very quickly, some of them were recruited into the SOE, the Special Operations Executive. And I believe, and I've got to refer to my bit of paper now, I believe that there was 50 SOE agents, female agents, sent into France in total from the SOE, but 39 of those 50 were from the Fany. They were from the first aid nurse in Yeomanry. 39 out of 50. So obviously the Fannies were heavily recruited into the SOE to do their bit, helping the French with spying, basically. So they went all through. I mean, they picked up 3 George Crosses and 1 George Medal. That's a lot. That's quite a lot. Plus umpteen other medals. There was a total of 6,000 Fannies that served in World War II, and sadly 16 were captured and killed. Very dangerous job. It's worth looking them up. Now, why am I talking about them? Well, one, because they're a fairly unknown unit, the Fannies, but secondly, because I've had some personal experience of working with the Fannies. So rewinding now back to 2000, 2001, something like that. I was a Sergeant Major serving down at 2 Brigade in Folkestone, and we used to run specialised courses from a specialised training team. And sometimes we would take these specialist courses and set them up at various units. Rather than them coming to us, if they couldn't, we would take the course to them, depending on what the course was. One of the courses we ran was BITS, back in those days, Basic Instructional Techniques. I think it's referred to now as DITS, Defence Instructional Techniques, but then it was BITS. It used to be Method of Instruction. So myself, and I think I took 2 or 3 other senior ranks with me, we went up to the Duke of York's in London. That's where the Fannies were based then, along with 21 SAS, which is the Reserve SAS unit of the British Army. One of the Reserve SAS units, 2-1 and 2-3. 2-1 were in London at Duke of York's. So we went up there and we run the course over 2 weekends. We had to do it over weekends. We worked the Saturday, Friday night, the Saturday and the Sunday, and deliver the course to them. Now, I can't sing their praises enough. These girls, these ladies, were absolutely like sponges. They could absorb the information. We ran the course, very attentive, flew through the course, not a problem. And some of the stuff these girls do, these ladies do, they're trained in so many different variations of stuff. They've been involved, if you can look them up, Wikipedia it, right? Look them up. They've been involved in, since the Second World War, certainly in London, terrorist attacks that's happened in the past, they've been involved in that kind of stuff. Trying to get the sunset in the back, it's a cracking sun. Anyway, it's over there somewhere. They were used in Op Granby. So when Op Granby come along, which is first Gulf War, they set up casualty notification centres here in the UK. They were expecting a lot of casualties in that conflict. Thankfully, it wasn't as bad as it could have been. So they were used for that. But also terrorist incidents we've had, the 7/7 bombings in London, they will support the police, they will support the emergency services with radio communications, answering telephones, hotlines, stuff like that. You very rarely hear of these girls. Now here's the other thing, as I said, it's 100% voluntary what they do. They don't get paid. In fact, they have to pay an annual subscription to be a Fany. They get nothing. It's not like a TA where they get their travel paid and they get a soldier's rate of pay. These Fanys get nothing. Yes, they're issued a uniform. What do they wear? Well, they wear modern day combats. I know when we were down there, they were dressed in DPM, Combat Soldier 95 kit. Obviously now they're in MTP kit. They do have like a service dress, an old-fashioned, if you like, service dress. If you saw one of them dressed today in it, you'd think they were from the Second World War. They look fantastic. They've got the service dress jacket, khaki skirt, and the khaki cap with their cap badge in it. They have badges of rank. As I say, they're not commissioned. This is a rank structure within their own unit. Very similar. They have a pip and a little band, I think, which is a cadet ensign. A single pip, which I think is a lieutenant. Two pips, one pip, one little red circle, second lieutenant. Two, a lieutenant. Three, a captain. A single crown, but it's not like our crown very much in the army, which is would have been a major to us. I think that's a commander. And so it goes up. And it goes up to about the equivalent rank of a brigadier, the actual commandant. But that's immaterial, the rank thing, but they do have that. They recruit solely from people in London. In fact, you have to live or work inside the M25. So if you're up in Lincoln or down in Kent, somewhere down on the coast, you can't, unless you work in London. So you've got to work or live within the M25. That's what they recruit for. They're on call 7 days a week, 365 days a year. If something kicks off, an emergency or whatnot, they will come in and assist. Now, because they've had this Second World War link with the French resistance being part of the SOE, many of the girls that did that SOE work obviously were parachuted into France. Not all of them, but quite a few of them were parachuted into France. And because of that, they raised the money themselves and have a link with the French paratroopers. And now and again, a selection of them will go out and attend and complete the French parachute course and earn their French parachute wings. And often if you look at online at them, now and again you'll see one of them wearing the French para wings on their right hand side. More recently, on the King's coronation, they received, those that were involved I believe, received the coronation medal as well. As I say, the commandant is the Princess Royal, Her Royal Highness Princess Anne. So that's about as much as I can tell you about the Fanys. One incident I did have that wasn't the first time I run that course that I'd come across them actually. I took my team down to Purbright to run a reserve army skill arms meeting at Purbright, and it was an international one. So we had teams from, I don't know, Switzerland, Germany, America, Canada, New Zealand, all over, South Africa. All these little reservist units sent teams over to do a shooting competition, and between going around the ranges, these teams would visit little stands. There might be a grenade stalk, there might be a first aid stand. We was running a weapon assembly stand, so we had a blanket on the ground with a number of stripped down weapons, all mixed up, all the working parts mixed together. You can imagine the passion it took. Threw a poncho over the top of that. As the teams turned up, we'd give them a brief, and we'd time them. We'd give them so long to do it, pull it back, and had to assemble as many weapons functioning properly as they could. So we were setting this up. We've done it a couple of years on a run actually. The first time we were setting it up, we were out on the ranges somewhere. I got a little table, a little tent, and I'd got a radio, 351 or whatever it was. man-pack radio, and come over the radio from range control to our stand. Please go to range control to collect your fanny. Now, at that stage, we'd never heard of fannies. We were always told to go and collect our fanny. My team nearly broke each other's necks trying to get out the door, or out the tent rather. So anyway, we quickly realised when we picked this lady up, this Fany, brought her back to our stand, and she ran the comms for us all weekend. The bank holiday weekend in August, I'm sure it was. And she sat on the radio, done everything, absolutely marvellous on the radio, voice procedure, fantastic. Better than some of the guys I've got. And that's the sort of thing they do, and they're very, very prominent now in the signals world. Like I say, and a lot of linguist work as well, because a lot of these ladies are professional ladies, well-educated ladies. Many of them have more than one language. And of course, that's always going to be useful to the armed forces to have people that are bilingual. So, that's as much as I can tell off the top of my head without sitting and reading crap out to you. So please, if you've not heard of the FANYs, the First Aid Nurse in Yeomanry, the Princess Royals Volunteer Corps, please look them up. There's loads online about them. You can see some great pictures of them. You'll see what I mean. So that's it from me now. I've got a tab on because it's getting a bit darker. I need to pick the pace up. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you for your donations and your support. Thank you for the kind comments. Me and Tracer are going to be ready in a week tomorrow, ready to kick this off, and we'll do you proud, those that you donated. I promise you, we'll bash this out. We'll do it somehow. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please consider it. I'm not saying do it, I'm saying consider it. Till next time, troops, stay safe, take care. Thank you so much for me and the Tracer around for all your support. We'll see you soon, it won't be long. Till then, let's tab.